The headline stunned the defense world, sending ripples of surprise and confusion through military circles and newsrooms alike. Greece rejects free U.S. warships. The announcement was as unexpected as it was dramatic. The Hellenic Navy had turned down 4 Freedom-class, littoral, combat ships, offered at no initial cost by the United States, a gesture that, on the surface, seemed like an incredible opportunity. In a world where advanced military hardware is coveted and alliances are often measured by the exchange of such assets, this was a bold public rejection that caught many off guard. Why would a navy facing regional tensions and the constant need to modernize refuse modern warships for free? The question echoed across defense ministries and think tanks worldwide. The decision sent shockwaves through Washington and the global arms market, with defense contractors and policymakers scrambling to assess the implications. These ships, once seen as cutting edge, were now under a cloud of doubt. Their reputation, once a point of pride, was suddenly in question. Greece's refusal raised tough questions, not just about the ships themselves, but about the future of naval cooperation and trust between allies. Were the ships truly battle-ready, or did hidden costs and technical issues make them a burden rather than a gift? For other nations, the message was clear and sobering. Even a free warship can come with strings attached. The real price of a warship is its lifetime cost, not just its sticker price. Maintenance, upgrades, and operational expenses can quickly outweigh any initial savings. The LCS, once a symbol of American naval innovation and ambition, was suddenly seen as a potential liability, an asset that could drain resources rather than strengthen a fleet. As the world digested Greece's decision, attention shifted to the Philippines. Hindi, inasur, hindi, insai, insulted border. A nation with urgent maritime security needs, facing its own set of challenges in contested waters, and a chance to turn another's headache into its own opportunity. Could the Philippine Navy find value where Greece saw only risk? Or would the same concerns resurface, forcing another difficult decision in the ever-shifting landscape of naval power? The littoral combat ship program began with a bold vision, one that aimed to redefine naval warfare for a new century. The idea was to create a fast, highly agile warship, specifically designed to operate in the shallow, contested waters that would define the conflicts of the 21st century. The LCS was engineered for speed, capable of exceeding 40 knots, and for modularity, with interchangeable mission packages tailored for anti-submarine warfare, mine countermeasures, and surface combat. This flexibility was meant to allow a single ship to take on multiple roles, adapting quickly to new threats. In theory, commanders could reconfigure a single hull for new missions in just a matter of days, maximizing operational flexibility and reducing the need for specialized ships, which would ultimately save costs and streamline fleet management. The Freedom class, built by Lockheed Martin, was the first of its kind. It boasted advanced sensors, a rapid-fire 57mm gun, and a spacious flight deck capable of supporting both helicopters and drones, expanding its reach and versatility. For navies around the world seeking modernization, the LCS represented a leap into the future, a promise of networked, adaptable operations that could respond to evolving threats with unprecedented speed. But as the program progressed, the reality began to diverge from the vision. Mission modules lagged behind schedule. Quick swaps between roles proved far more complex and time-consuming than anticipated, and costs steadily soared, straining budgets. The initial optimism that surrounded the LCS faded, replaced by frustration and disappointment as the ship struggled to deliver on its revolutionary promise. Instead of becoming the game-changer it was meant to be, the LCS found itself adrift, a vessel in search of a mission it could reliably perform, its true purpose still uncertain. The gap between the ambitious vision and the hard reality was now impossible to ignore, casting a long shadow over the promise of a new era in naval warfare. When the U.S. offered 4 decommissioned Freedom-class ships to Greece, it seemed like a perfect fit for the Aegean's shallow, island-dotted waters. On paper, these modern-looking vessels promised to boost Greece's naval presence and patrol capabilities, especially in a region where tensions can flare up quickly. But after a thorough review, Greece's defense ministry made a surprising decision. They turned down the offer, even though the ships were being given away for free. This wasn't a decision made lightly, but one based on careful analysis and hard lessons from others' experience. The main reason was a deeply flawed propulsion system that had plagued the class from the start. The complex combining gear, meant to deliver speed and agility, was instead prone to catastrophic breakdowns. These failures could leave ships stranded, requiring extensive and expensive repairs that took vessels out of action for months at a time. Even the US Navy, with its vast resources, had to halt deliveries and launch a massive, fleet-wide repair effort just to keep these ships operational. For Greece, this kind of unreliable engineering was a deal-breaker. In a region where readiness is everything, a warship that can't sail is worse than useless. It's a liability that could put national security at risk. Operational costs raised even more red flags for Greek planners. The LCS's small crew, intended to save money, actually led to crew burnout and chronic maintenance issues, as sailors struggled to keep up with demanding workloads. Meanwhile, the need for specialized parts and reliance on outside contractors sent expenses skyrocketing, making these free ships anything but cheap to operate. Greece calculated that the long-term costs of running these ships would drain resources better spent on acquiring new, reliable corvettes designed for their needs. Survivability and firepower were also major concerns. Built to commercial standards, the LCS was more vulnerable to attack and carried lighter armament than the heavily armed warships fielded by regional rivals. For a country facing real and immediate threats, accepting fragile, lightly armed ships simply made no sense. The risks far outweighed any potential benefits. Greece's rejection was a pragmatic public warning to the world. The Freedom-class LCS was a risky bet with too many downsides. Other nations, watching closely, took note of this bold decision. The lesson was clear: sometimes, a free warship is simply too expensive to own, and the true cost only becomes clear after you set sail. The Philippines, an archipelago of over 7,600 islands, faces immense maritime security challenges. Its navy must patrol vast waters, protect sea lanes, and defend sovereignty, often with outdated second-hand ships. The West Philippine Sea is the flashpoint, where Chinese vessels routinely challenge Filipino claims and harass local fishermen. Outnumbered and outgunned, the Philippine Navy struggles to maintain a credible presence. Internal threats compound the problem. Pirates, smugglers, and terrorists exploit porous maritime borders. Modernization is underway, but new ships are still too few for the nation's sprawling coastline. The urgent need for more capable vessels is clear. In this context, the offer of 5 Freedom-class warships, despite their flaws, became a tempting, if risky, proposition. For the Philippine Navy, acquiring 5 Freedom-class ships could be a game-changer, or a costly mistake. The upside 5 modern hulls would instantly boost patrol capacity, speed, and presence in contested waters. The LCS's speed and flight deck offer tactical advantages for rapid response and helicopter operations. But the risks are daunting. The propulsion flaw would require expensive repairs, likely with US contractor support. Operational costs are high, and the Navy's budget is limited. Without proper fixes, these ships could become hangar queens, modern in name, but stuck in port. The gamble. Do the benefits of more ships and speed outweigh the risk of inheriting a logistical and financial nightmare? Manila maluway pazing garnmalas and in British. The going choice to go would cripple the Navy for years. If the Philippines moves forward, the deal is about more than ships. It's about deepening ties with the US. Fixing the propulsion system is the first hurdle, requiring American technical help and funding. Filipino sailors will need extensive training on the LCS's advanced systems, likely in the US. The supply chain for parts and software will tie the fleet to American support for years. This dependency brings both benefits and risks: interoperability with the US Navy, but vulnerability to political or logistical delays. The partnership could strengthen the alliance, enabling joint patrols and exercises. But Manila must manage the long-term reliance on US goodwill and efficiency. The LCS deal is both a strategic opportunity and a potential leash. Success depends on careful negotiation and planning. The Freedom-class ships could be a stepping stone for the Philippine Navy's modernization. They offer a chance to train sailors on advanced systems and high-speed operations, building valuable expertise. The LCS's large flight deck and mission bay could support unmanned systems, giving the Navy a head start in drone warfare. But the risks are real. High maintenance costs could drain the defense budget, forcing the Navy to sacrifice breadth for a handful of expensive ships. Over-reliance on these platforms could create a brittle force, vulnerable in a crisis. The key is a long-term strategy: secure funding, develop local maintenance capabilities, and adapt doctrine to maximize the ship's strengths. If managed well, the LCS could transform the fleet. If not, they risk becoming a cautionary tale, impressive on paper, but a burden in practice. The future depends on clear-eyed planning and sustained investment. The LCS is a tool, not a silver bullet. The LCS deal highlights a deeper challenge: the Philippines' reliance on second-hand equipment from allies. This dependency limits strategic choices and fosters a cycle of hand-me-downs. Breaking free requires investment in the local defense industry. Recent deals with South Korea and local shipbuilding are steps in the right direction. The LCS, if acquired, should come with technology transfer and training to build domestic expertise. The goal: a Philippine Navy that can maintain and upgrade its own ships, tailored to its needs. The LCS should be a bridge to self-reliance, not a permanent crutch. A balanced strategy, mixing foreign acquisitions with local development, is essential. The ultimate vision: a fleet designed and built in the Philippines, for the Philippines. Sovereign defense requires more than just new ships, it demands independence. The Philippines stands at a pivotal moment. Accepting the Freedom-class ships could transform its navy, or saddle it with costly burdens. Success would signal resolve, strengthen alliances, and shift the balance in the South China Sea. Failure would waste resources and undermine credibility. The decision hinges on honest assessment. Can the Navy afford, absorb, and sustain these ships? The outcome will echo for decades, shaping the nation's maritime future. The sea defines the Philippines, and mastering it is a matter of survival. The choice is theirs, and the world is watching.